Sorry, for some reason my video stopped halfway through, so let me finish this. So we have here, we had 1 times 60 times 60 times 60, puts us in the third realm, which is 216,000. 10 plus 1 is 11, times 60 times 60, which is 39,600. 10 plus 1 is 11, times 60 is 660, plus 1. Add those together, you get 256,261. And the last one, okay, we have 3 sets of numbers. This is the ones, we have ones, 60s, 60 times 60. So it's 10 times 60 squared. That's a 0 times 60, that's in the second group. And then 10, 21 in the ones. So 60 times 60 is 3,600. Times 10 is 36,000. Plus 0 plus 21. So it's 36,000 plus 21 is 36,021. So that's how it went with the Babylonians. Now, we haven't already for these guys yet. Let's look at the Mayans. It's been reported that some people think that the Mayans were centuries ahead of the Babylonians, the Egyptians. So, and even before that, they're thinking the Chinese also. So, the Babylonian or the Mayans thought, well, if I have my fingers and toes, I can count. So, with the fingers, they can count from 1 to 10. And since they're in the tropical rainforest, they have their toes, so they can count from they can add 10 more, so it's from 11 to 20. And this number is going to be important for future reference. The Mayans introduced an attribute not present in the Egyptian or Babylonians. Numeric systems. What they introduced the concept of the symbol for 0, which is a big deal. But how would you know if you're at a business meeting, in a deal in market, how do you know you're square? So if you had 20 chickens and I bought your 20 chickens, how many chickens do you have left? 0. If there's any numbers left in either way, if I have more, you have more, then it's not equal trade. So that the 0 is a very important concept. The system is based on a grouping of 20, and it's done vertically. So if I looked at a lot of them, they were all done horizontally. A single dot represented 1 unit, or number 1. A horizontal line represented the number 5. And the symbol they used, the shell, looks like a shell, was the symbol they used to represent 0. So, if I had 2 horizontal lines, that's 2 of the 5s, so that's the number 10. If I had two horizontal lines with one dot over it, that's 2 5 units plus a 1. That gives us 11. So if we had 3 of the 5s and 4 dots, 15 plus 4, that's 19. Then again, they don't go to 4 numbers, or 4 lines. So what they did there is to introduce the concept of 20. They use their 0 with a dot over it. That was the idea for 20. Alright, so let's look at some examples here. The shell was 0, the dot was 1. Now, each level, they're done vertically. The lowest level is the 1s, the next is 20s, but then they go 20 times 18. Then it's 20 times 20 times 18. Then 20 times 20 times 20 times 18. So it's an interesting concept that they had. So let's see this first one. We had 3 lines, so it's 3 times 5 plus 4 dots, so it's 15 plus 4 equals 19. The clam, put a dot over it, that's the number 20. So what do you see with this one? We have 2 lines, so it's 2 times 5 plus 1. That's in the 1's area. That's 2 lines of 5 with 3 extras, and that's in the 20s. That's in the next level up. Remember, each level up, you multiply by something else. So it's 2 times 5 is 10, plus 3 times 20. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 times 1. 13 times 20, 11 times 1. 260. 11. Add those up, you get 271. That's a 0, so you got a 0 times 1. 3 times 5 plus 1, that's in the 20s realm. So that's 0. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 1 times 20. 16 times 20 is 320. Now we have the 3 realms. Remember, this is the 1s, this is the 20, this is the 20 times 18. The 3rd level. So we have 5 plus 4 in the 1s column. We have 2 of the 5 bars plus 2, that's times 20. We have 1 of the 5 bar plus 1 dot times 20 times 18. So 1 times 5 is 5 plus 1 is 6. 6 times 20 times 18. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 2 is 12 times 20. 4 plus 5 is 9 times 1. So 9 times 1 is 9. 12 times 20 is 240. 6 times 20 times 18, 2,160. If we add those up, we get 9, 0, 4, 2, 2409. A little more. So we have 3 in the ones area, 0 times 20, we got 2 of the 5s in the 20 times 18 area, so 0 times 20 is 0, 3 times 1 is 3. 2 times 5 is 10, times 20, times 18. 20 times 18 is 360, times 10 is 3,600, plus 0, plus 3. Add those up, 3603. Right, so that's the Mayan representation. And the next one we have are the Romans. The Roman numeral system is a more recent one. It's used in Europe. It's not about the 3rd century BCE. Before current era, before now. Alright, so what does this have? So, what do you mean by say 3rd century? When we say the 3rd century, we're talking about the 1st century is from the year 0 to 99. That's the first 100 years. From the year 100 to 199, the next 100 years, that's the 2nd century. From the year 200 to 299, that's the 3rd century. So whatever number there is, subtract 1, and that's right. So the 20th century is from 1900 to 1999. The 21st century is from 20 to 2099. Which is where we are now, in the 21st century. And in the Roman numeral system, they're more formalized. So a 1 is represented by a single dash, the line. 2 of them is 2. 3 of them is 3. And a V represents 5. Yeah. In the Roman numeral system, you'll never find more than 3 of a kind. So now, they introduce the subtraction part, because to go from 3 to 5, what's between there? IV. Whenever you have a smaller number in front of a larger number, you subtract. So it's 5, V is 5, minus 1 is 4. Then you have 5. If you have the smaller number after the larger number, then you add. The smaller numbers are after the larger, so it's 5 plus 2 is 7. 5 plus 3 equals 8. And we'll go all the way down to 10. Again, what's 9? It's 1 before 10. So it's ix, so it's 10 minus 1. And we keep on going. So xi is 10 plus 1, which is 11. xiv, I'm going to skip you some. So it's 10, iv, so it's 10. iv is 4, we did that earlier. So that's 14. xv is 10 plus 5 equals 15. xx is 10 plus 10, which is 20. We'll go down to 50. Nice, and there's the last Super Bowl. In the last Super Bowl, if the Super Bowl right before it was IL, which is 50 minus 1 is 49. LI is 50 plus 1 is 51, and so forth. So L is 50, C for century is 100, or centurion, which is a Roman leader of 100 soldiers. D represents 500, and millennium or milli is 1000. So, in the Roman numeral system, if a large number is followed by a smaller number, then you add them. But if a smaller number is in front of a larger number, then you subtract the larger minus the smaller. So for example, IXC. That's 1, that's 10, that's 100. So since these are in front of the big one, it's 100 minus x is 10 minus 1. 100 minus 10 is 90, minus 1 is 89. The Romans also had another way of representing numbers, larger numbers. Say you had a bar overneath a number. That's a Visa 5. That bar represents 1000. So that's how you represent 5000. Ten times 1000 equals 10,000. All right, if you had 2 bars over it, so it's 10 times 1000 times 1000. It's 10 with 6 zeros behind it. There's 3, and there's 1.